Okay, so I want to get a little bit more information about you first. I know you've been asked this before, but it really helps the presenters. Raise your hand if you primarily do clinical work, like, you know, counseling, therapy, stuff like that. Okay, you and me. Raise your hand if you primarily do education. Raise your hand if you do policy work, primarily. You can only raise your hand once. Raise your hand if you primarily do ministry. Okay, cool. All right, good. All right. Who did I miss? Did I miss anything? I know we had a lawyer in the last one. Raise your hand if you do law. Raise your hand if you hate lawyers, since there's none here. I hope there were none here. That was a really easy lawyer joke. Raise your hand if you hate lawyers. That was an easy one. So, okay. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I was asked to do this presentation. I am a licensed professional counselor. Mostly do family counseling and marriage counseling in the Reston, Virginia area, which isn't exactly very far from here. And that's my day job, I guess. It's what I do primarily. It's how I earn my living in private practice. I work a lot with kids from about 10 years old to kids to 38 years old, I guess. But I do a lot of failure to launch type stuff as well, kids coming back after their unsuccessful first or second semester in college. So primarily what I do is I do a lot of systems work. I also, actually I'm going to do this one first. I also teach at Virginia Tech. They have a marriage and family therapy department, a master's program up in the metropolitan Washington area. And I teach there a couple of courses on how to work with children within a systems context. It's a piece that a lot of marriage and family therapy programs are very heavy marriage versus heavy family. So I try to round that out for Virginia Tech. I got more and more interested since I was doing a lot of systems work in parenting, since that's the major leader in a family is the parents, at least it should be. And so I finally decided to, after a lot of urging from my wife, to write a book called Homework, A Parent's Guide to Helping Out Without Freaking Out, which is essentially a leadership guide on how to have parents lead their kids through the academics, the educational environment, versus helping them. It would be considered the anti-helicopter parent book, if you've heard that term. So generally, parents either are way too involved or not involved at all. And so this book is a way to help parents figure out how they should be involved in ways that are going to work. So I do a lot of trainings and seminars on the book and on these concepts. And please stop, say hello to me after the presentation if you think you have an organization that might be interested in having me come out. I do a number of, oftentimes in school systems, I do like an after-school program on how to deal with helicopter parents, how to deal with those overreactive parents, and then in the evening I do a PTA presentation or evening presentation. And that's what I'm going to be talking about is presentations and groups. How do you work with them in a way that's going to increase the number of those folks actually coming to your program? So just watch this little clip for a second.
People will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they like.
Everybody remember that? Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Simple. And it worked, right? It worked for Ray, what was his name? Ray Kinsella. Yes, very nice. All he had to do was just build it. People came. We keep perpetuating that myth when we're running programs. When we're working with families, we think, I've got a great program. I've got great ideas. I got a grant. And they told me I could spend money. I could buy the best program in the world. And so you do it. You train your leaders. You send out information. Okay? And 3 people come. Sound familiar? There's a need for our programs. There's a need for helping parents and helping couples understand some basics about relationships that they just never got. It's stunning how much of my work is teaching people the basics about relationships, which is great because at least we're teaching them that. But so the need is huge. The problem, though, she says, I just feel so much better knowing I'm not alone. Sarcasm support group. This is the problem. I can't tell you, I was an elementary school counselor in my first professional real job, I guess, with an actual real paycheck that had to do with something with my education. And what did I first learn? I had active parenting, which is great material. I did STEP. I don't even know if STEP's around anymore. I did STEP as well, Systematic Training for Effective Parenting. That's a mouthful. Did all back then we didn't really have email. So we did all the, sending stuff out, doing announcements, and I had 3 parents. And my principal was great. She's like, well, you keep trying, Neil. Maybe you'll have more next time. Did all the same stuff the next semester. I had 2 parents. Sound familiar? There was something missing that took me a long time to figure out what it was. What I want to get an idea from you all, though, is, this is going to be hard because you just met me and you probably don't know each other very well, but I want a couple people to share what their negative experiences have been so far when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to filling the seats for your programs. Who'd be willing to share a couple ideas? Okay, I'm going to have to fill Donahue, you here.
Just talk really loud.
No, I got to bring it over here. I was told I can't just have people talk loud, so it stretches. Thanks.
In our program, a big barrier is transportation. We live in rural Iowa, and so we don't have public transportation at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thanks. Thanks. Good. Other problems? I know it sounds weird to say good after somebody tells me a problem, but... Okay. Did you have one? Okay.
We recruit for foster and adopted parents, and we also have support groups for our foster parents, and we have a group called While You Waiting, which is for families who are waiting to adopt. We buy food, we send out the literature, we do a hold the date, whatever the whole 9 yards, and again, we still get maybe 2 or 3 people. But what we have found is we kept doing it. And then then word of mouth, after like 6 or 8 months, at least our While You Wait group increased in numbers. We're still trying to build up our Resource Parent Council group. We even make phone calls the night before the meeting, reminder calls. So if anybody has any other suggestions that I think we've hit everything pretty much.
Oh, you're going to get a ton of suggestions, but that's an important one, which was very depressing for me, was, my principal said, well, keep trying. Word of mouth will improve your numbers, and if you have a good program, that'll work. So I guess I didn't have a very good program that first time, so.
I've given marriage programs in my church, and I can't get the pastor to speak about it from the pulpit. Therefore, few people come. And then I also teach John Van Epps' program, Pick a Partner. And a lot of the people who are interested in picking a partner, finding the right person to marry, are a little afraid, I think, that they'll be seen as not very adequate if they show up at a program like that. So my numbers, the first program I did, I had 9, then I had 17, then I had about 6, and the last time I only had 1 person sign up. So over 2 years.
Interesting, thanks. And that might have to do with the power of context, which we're going to talk about, and the stickiness factor, which we're going to talk about as well.
I was just going to say retention. We really do we have 12, 14 couples that actually show up, which is amazing for us, but we allotted money, quite a bit of money for marketing and radio and that kind of thing, and our nonprofit is about 19 years old as well. So we're out there. People know about us in Jacksonville. But keeping them in the class. keeping them in the class. Yes, well, besides doing just the song and dance every single time, we have amazing facilitators too. So it's just that, getting over the hump.
Keeping their attention is what I think about it. That, they come once and they loved it, but then why don't they come back? Exactly. Okay. All right, good. So one of the things we're going to be doing is we're not going to be talking about these very much. Okay? These are some of the traditional recruitment techniques. Email in all languages. It was we did a thing where somebody said, well, we sent it out to all of our Spanish-speaking families as well. And then the parent liaison who kind of works with the families said, well, 90% of our Spanish-speaking families are not Spanish-reading families. They don't read in Spanish, so it really wasn't effective. Newsletters, a sign out front, bulletin board, radio and TV. Okay, all these share one thing. It's one-way communication. It's good. It's important. But if this is all we do, then we're going to lose a lot of potential people for our programs. These are all one way. What do you think I mean by that? There's no conversation, right? There's nothing happening between us. It's just dissemination of information. Press releases. We're going to talk a bit about press releases and how to write a good one. We're going to be talking a bit about emails and how to write a good one. I got some really good information about that because this stuff is important, but it's nowhere near enough because you're going to hit so few percentage of people. So now we've got this new stuff, right? Facebook, Twitter. I get Twitter. I have a Twitter account. I already tweeted twice today. I just don't get Twitter. Does that make sense? Because when I say to people, especially people in their 20s and early 30s, well, I don't get Twitter. They explain to me what Twitter is. I'm like, I get that. I just don't see what's happening. I put it out there and I have no idea what happens to it. So anyway, LinkedIn. So, these are all still one way. It allows for two-way communication, particularly Facebook. But it doesn't require a two-way conversation. Okay, it's better, but again, it's still not enough. And it really requires a savviness on the part of the parents that you're working with that are actually using these things. Texting, something I never thought of. I went to the recruitment workshop earlier today so I could steal some ideas. And one of them is that somebody said that African American communities do a ton of texting. And so being able to text information, don't know exactly how to do that yet, besides texting each person. I guess there's some mass texting things out there, but this still is one way. This still is a one-way communication. So, we're not going to talk as much about one-way communication. We're going to talk about a solution for it. We're going to talk about one of my heroes, Malcolm Gladwell. Fascinating guy. He's a journalist for, I think, the New Yorker magazine. And so, but he has a specific niche, which is understanding human phenomena. Most of his material is about that. And so his first book was called The Tipping Point, which the question he asked was, what happens with an idea to produce a fad, to produce a trend? How do things tip from being an idea into a trend or a movement? How does it happen? And so he has a bunch of case studies. If you haven't read the book and you're involved with bringing people into an idea, it's an essential read. It's an easy read, too. And the cool part is you're going to have a basis for reading it now that you might have not have had before. But he has three major ideas in the book, The Tipping Point. The first idea is the power of context. The second idea is the stickiness factor. And the third idea is the law of the few. I love his writing because the hardest word in there is context, That one's that's a little bit confusing. The other ones you get right away. He's very sticky. You'll find out what that means in a minute. So let's talk about each of these. The power of context. Now, when we're doing this, when we're working through these ideas, I want you to be thinking about your own program. Because hopefully, if we have time, you'll have time to develop a few ideas that you'll be able to use for your specific program. So think about your program. the power of context is basically, does your program fit into the context in which your community resides? All right? Is it timely? Okay, I said, I hope there's no big, huge STEP advocates here. The STEP program, I don't even know if it's around anymore. Because if it hasn't been updated, I don't want to use it. Okay? Have you ever used old programs where there's like videos and the people are like even 5, 8 years ago, and the people are going to look at, oh my gosh, look at that. They know. I showed a video once, and the guy had a cell phone, and it was the brick cell phone, And I'm sure when that video was made, he was so cool because nobody had a cell phone that you could carry around. All right, but just a few years later, it just looked so lame. So is the program timely? Does it have what? Is it a little bit edgy? Particularly with younger individuals, making things a little bit more edgy is good. And a lot of newer programs are like that. Is it interesting for the people that you're trying to get to? Your statement about, it was really interesting because I've always wondered about, the material, don't marry a jerk or a jerkette, or I forget the how to avoid one. Okay, how to pick the right mate, etc. Most people have already, it's like kind of buying a stock. It's hard to realize that you bought the wrong stock. Most people have already, when they're pre-marriage kind of thing, I think one of the things that pulls them away is, I don't want to be told that I married the jerk or that I'm dating the jerk. That I don't want to know that this isn't the right person. I've already made some type of purchase commitment. Nobody reads the reviews for a car after you purchased a car. You don't want to know it's bad. So I'm wondering about changing something about the statement that is going to make it more of an interest to people that might be put off a bit. Now that's my own personal thought, because, go ahead.
His subtitle is Love Thinks, so that's what I use.
Love Thinks.
Love Thinks. Follow your heart while using your mind.
Perfect. Follow your heart while using your mind. It's much more sticky, which we'll talk about. Well, we'll talk about it now. Okay. The stickiness factor is basically, and there's a great book. There's Chip and Dan Heath wrote this book. This is a marketing book. Again, it's a fantastic book because so many of the concepts can be used in nonprofits. In fact, many of his examples are nonprofits. Stickiness is basically the idea of, is your material, is the stuff that you're putting out there sticky? Okay, and a sticky is, do you remember it? What your statement, how to avoid a jerk or whatever. I say it wrong every time, but it's still there. Okay, and I don't know a lot about it, but I know it sticks. It's very sticky. Follow your heart, but use your mind. Get it. I got it. Okay. Men are from. Women are from. Sticky. It's right there, isn't it? Exactly. Now the interesting thing is, well, I'm going to hold off on that idea. So the idea is your message sticky? And there's a few ways that we can make things sticky. Could I have one of my, or both of my resource people to help me out? Sure. Don't ask a question when you just want someone to do something, right? I have probably enough for half the people. What I have are handouts that I just went downstairs and grabbed from the booths. We're going to be doing an exercise with them. So if you wouldn't mind being part of the exercise, just raise your hand while you all go around, and we're going to need a lot of folks. So, and just hand one of the items to each person. So as it's handed out, I'm going to hold off on the benefits versus features. The three-question concept is this wonderful little marketing concept that really works good. The idea is that if you ask 3 questions and the person reading it can answer at least one of them positively, then they're going to continue reading. If they answer more than one positively, then they're going to be even more interested. So let's say you're doing the stuff that I do a lot of is parenting. I'm a lot about calm parenting. So I'm going to make up 3 questions about that. I'm going to run a group on calm parenting. Are your kids driving you crazy? Did you promise yourself you wouldn't yell at your kids, yet you keep finding yourself doing it? Then the last one is always a positive. Do you wish there was a better way? Okay. So the 3-question concept is that there are 3 questions. 2 of them are, can you relate to these things? The third one is kind of a path towards something better. Okay. Are you tired of fighting with your spouse so much? Do you wish there was a better way? That's always a great third question. It's a good generic one. Okay. Are you spending a lot of time just churning about negative things in your life? Whatever. The idea is, and this isn't very solution-oriented kind of work, the idea is the first 2 questions are somehow they're going to resonate with your audience. Okay? So that's the 3-question approach. Now, the features versus benefits. This is another classic marketing skill that most of us, if we didn't have any marketing work, don't know it. And even people who have had tremendous marketing work aren't very good at it, because this is hard. The idea is, when you're writing material, you're writing benefits instead of features. A feature is something that's going to happen. A benefit is how it's going to benefit you. Okay? So, at one of the workshops I went to this morning, the guy he splashed up a brochure, and there was this one cool little bubble. Okay, and it said, learn these skills. Just because you put 2 exclamation points on it doesn't really, I don't think, really makes people even more interested. But it was 2 exclamation points, so. Communication, rule setting, roles. This was a fatherhood kind of thing. This was something for fatherhood. These are features. You will learn something about communication. You will learn something about rule setting. You will learn something about it says rails, sorry, it's my bad. Rules. You will learn roles, like your stepdad or stepmom. You will learn something about your roles. Okay? Those are features. They're not benefits. So think about, how is improved communication going to help these people reading this? This is a parenting thing. How would you say that? Create a closer connection with your child. Easily. Simply. It's important to make claims, okay? But claims you can back up, okay? Easy is hard. I love simple. What's the difference between simple and easy? What's the difference between easy and simple? Simple means there's very few steps. Okay? The opposite of simple is complicated. The opposite of easy is hard. A lot of what we do is simple and hard. Because if it was easy, they'd already be doing it. All right. So yeah, I love that. Learn a simple method to increase the close connection with your child. Yes, to feel closer to your child. Hear how that's a benefit? I'm going to go through this and I'm going to feel closer to my child. All right? Rule setting. How would you do that one?
Help your child meet your expectations.
Help your child meet your expectations. That's still a feature, believe it or not.
Keeping your child safe.
Keeping your child safe. Believe it or not, that's still a feature. What is it missing? What is it missing? What's missing on yours, keep your child safe, is an emotional component. Create some peace of mind by learning some ways of keeping your child safe. Okay, how is this going to benefit me? How am I going to feel better? The big thing that the Made to Stick talks about is the emotional components. How am I going to feel better? How is this going to benefit me in that way? And roles, like your role as like a blended family. Let's talk about like blended families. Become the parent you always wanted to be. Nice. Do you hear it? Do you feel it? You don't like it? Oh, you don't like it? Okay, I didn't know whether that was a... You have to know what kind of parent you want to be to start with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So as you're looking with the handout that I gave you, there's either circles or question marks, or sometimes circle and a question mark. Okay, this is the handout that we just gave you, the brochure or whatever. Yes, exactly. I want you to read some of the things that I circled and figure out whether they're features or benefits. Okay? Just based on what little you know about features and benefits. Do you know? Okay, let's stand up and tell us about what yours says.
This says, get tips to build strong relationships and marriages.
Get tips to build strong relationships and marriages. Okay. Do you hear how that's features? Okay. How would you change that? Get tips to build strong relationships and marriages. What's that? Become a better marriage partner. Become a better marriage. Become a better marriage partner. There's an emotional piece there. Okay? I like that. Good. Who else wants to try?
It says good for relationships, good for you. 5 simple steps. DateNightWorks.com.
I love this brochure. I love David and Claudia Arp, but they're neighbors of mine. But it's clean. There's not a lot of stuff on it. Okay, it's glossy, which I don't like that because I couldn't write on it. Okay, I had to use a Sharpie to actually write on it. Okay, but my glasses. Good for relationships, good for you. That verges on benefits. Okay, this is going to be good for you and your relationship. Okay, but it verges on benefits. But then the rest of it is kind of 5 simple steps. Simple, that's good. Okay. Date night, well, that's just talking about their thing. But yeah, there's a lot of features, but it verges on benefits, though. Who else wants to try one? Okay, go for it.
I'll do mine, even though it's under benefits.
Yeah.
Evidence-based, validated research instrument, flexible and adaptable. I'd say it's features.
Yeah. Do you hear? Do you hear how it's features? Now this is written to the professionals. All right, so what can you do with evidence-based? It's a huge buzzword. Proven. Have some peace of mind that this program isn't going to cause you headaches later on. Okay. The problem is features are easy to write. They're one words oftentimes. Benefits, you've got to write more than just one word. Real estate agents, you can tell a good real estate agent or not by whether when they're describing the home, whether they're describing features or benefits. Okay. Huge family room versus enjoy your family in the huge family room. Okay. Master bedroom suite. Get away from it all in the master bedroom suite. Okay. You see how you're clicking into the benefits, not just the features. Let's do one more. Who would like to share theirs? Okay.
Promote. I'm looking at all these are kind of like features. Promote responsible fatherhood. Oh God.
Okay. Do you hear it? Promote responsible fatherhood. Okay. It's a feature. What would you do with that? Create a great father of your community. I like it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can you come up so I can see it? Mike will probably stretch. Okay.
It's a long one, but in this workshop...
Do the first one first.
In this workshop, participants will be exposed to challenges that immigrant parents go through when raising children in a society different than theirs.
Okay. That's a feature. These are workshop descriptions for this program. Read the next one.
Join us to learn how to include children in your family education classes so that they can contribute and enhance the learning experience for everyone.
That's a benefit. Okay? Because the second one had more information about so that they can do something. Okay, so that there's something more is going to happen. It doesn't have to be emotional. It doesn't have to be, cheesy, although a lot of times it ends up sounding that way. But your goal when you're thinking about your benefit stuff is how to, create an emotional response to the people reading it. Stop feeling so guilty about, how you're handling your temper with your kids. Stop the cycle that you were raised in. Feel good about your relationship with your kids. Feel good about your relationship with your wife or with your spouse by learning 3 simple communication steps. Do you hear it? Okay. That's the idea of benefits versus features. So whenever you're developing something, start looking at it through that context, through that eye on, can I simply and easily change some of the wording here so that there's an emotional hook to it? Okay?
What did you say about the evidence program? What would be a great way to say that, or some examples to say something?
About evidence-based, yeah. Have some peace of mind that this program is evidence-based. That you won't have to, don't worry about auditors or, don't worry about, you can put it a better way, but, the federal government breathing down your neck, some type of hitting the fact of, relax, this is evidence-based. And that's good. I like that one. Okay. That's easy. I don't mind complimenting myself, obviously. What will I leave with? I love this one. What will I leave with? And the great thing is the word like confidence or reassurance or, not just skills. The confidence to be able to handle tough situations with my spouse. The confidence, it's a great word. You're leaving with the confidence, and then you say what the skills are going to leave with. The confidence to be able to know the difference between stop and start behaviors. Leave with the confidence to know when to reward and when to punish. It's stunning how few parents know the difference between rewards and punishments. When to reward and when to punish. And that one works so often with parenting things because they're going to be like, I don't know. I just kind of use them willy-nilly. I sometimes reward, I sometimes punish. And there's a great little 5-minute thing that you can hook them in with that one and spend 5 minutes on it and you're good. Just wait till the last session to do it with. But so, something about your program that they're going to leave with some type of confidence. If you are ever doing, it's one of the workshops that I'm working on for a couple of national conferences that I'm doing next year, is how do you get selected to do a workshop at a conference? And one of them is this. When they're asking for learning objectives, add some emotional words. Like participants will leave, add some emotional words. Participants will leave with the confidence to know how to blah, blah, blah. Okay, really helps that little hook. Okay, so one sticky sentence. Stickiness, basically, it's a very self-explanatory concept, is it sticks. It sticks somehow. And it sometimes, walk through the exhibit hall. It's a great experiment. Walk through the exhibit hall and look and see which of the banners, which of displays are sticky and which ones aren't. Okay? 10 great dates, sticky. Okay? National Association for Communication and Responsible Parenting, hood. Not sticky. Okay? So think about your program, but also think about what you're doing and what you're presenting. If you build it, will they come? Okay, sort of sticky. You got to have more than that because people aren't going to understand what that means without some type of subtitle. That it's a recruitment thing. Think about the good books out there, the good parenting books, the good marriage books. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. A great book. It's a great parenting book. Most of my parenting stuff is based on Murray Bowen's concepts of differentiation, which Murray Bowen is like the grandfather of family systems theory. And there's a great book written by Elizabeth Gilbert, I think her name is, and I can't remember. Thank you. I can't remember the title because it's not sticky. Okay, Extraordinary Relationships. Roberta Gilbert. Okay, Elizabeth Gilbert's the Eat, Pray, Love person, I think, or somebody. Okay. Eat, Pray, Love. Sticky. Mars and Venus. Sticky. Who cares what the content is? Mars and Venus. It's great. 5 love languages. Really? There's only 5? I can handle that. Do you notice it's always 3 or 5? They're never odd, even numbers with those types of things. Yeah. So the programs, think about the programs. So one of the programs that I've been involved with for quite a while is Scream-Free Parenting, based on the book Scream-Free Parenting. Hugely sticky. Who cares what the content is? The title is, you get a smile from so many people when they hear about that book. I tried it with my book, A Parent's Guide to Helping Out Without Freaking Out. It's how do you capture something that's a little bit sticky? So think how to avoid marrying a jerk. I still don't get it right, but it's sticky. Remember, it's something about not marrying jerks. Okay, and that's all that matters, is there's a stickiness there. Okay. Think about some of the titles of your programs. Who'd be willing to shout out a couple program titles to see how sticky they are? Yes?
I was just thinking about mine is Project SOS.
Project SOS.
And everyone says SOS project because it's got a huge SOS and then the project is very small across the
Right.
middle. It looks nice little logo on the shirt.
Right.
But it's, see, now there's a healthy relationships department inside Project SOS, which is strengthening our students, which was a real small
Right.
underneath it. So now we're just kind of everywhere, and what does that mean? And do they call it SOS project? And you don't want to correct them because it's awkward. And
Well, because your brand has become the SOS project.
yes,
Regardless of what you ended up started with, which is Project SOS, which is good. It's short. It's clean. I would not have gotten what it was though from the title.
yes, it's not. And then project.
What is it again? I thought it was going to be Save Our Schools. It's not even Save Our. What is it?
It's save our students. Well, actually,
No, it's
strengthen.
Strengthen Our Students. You see though, I'm thinking Save Our, and even you said it. So there's something big about SOS, but does it connect? Does it stick to what you're trying to get them to do?
Well, we have to do more explaining now that grant we're moving on to healthy relationships. So,
Right.
Does that have anything to do with it?
Right. And that's one of the difficulties. If you have to explain your title, you know what I'm going to say next. Okay. One of the difficulties with Screen-Free Parenting is that it's a great title for a book. It's not a good title for a parenting program. Okay. I did a lot of parenting I do probably like 50 or 60 PTA evenings or church and parenting evenings a year. And I used to call one of them Screen-Free Parenting. And then I decided I wasn't going to call it that anymore. I was going to keep the exact same stuff, but I was going to call it Parenting on Purpose. It's just something I came up with for myself. Kids say, well, it was on accident. No, it was on purpose. So I figured we should try to parent on purpose. And the increase, the numbers really increased because it sticks better than Screen-Free Parenting. Screen-Free Parenting is catchy, and it's a great book to order online or even go to the bookstore, but to show up at a thing and say, I'm a screamer. I want to learn how not to scream. Because then you explain, well, it's so much more than just about screaming. Okay, so and I found that I had to explain this too much. And because I was explaining it, the stickiness wasn't there. Some of the titles I use for my programs are, well, one, the name of my book, Homework, A Parent's Guide to Helping Out Without Freaking Out. Just Do Your Chores, okay, which is how do you instill, and then I have a subtitle, instilling responsibility in children. The Teenage Brain, Temporary Insanity, which, insanity with a question mark. I think I have 2 question marks, so I might have to get rid of that second one now that I saw that. Because I didn't like it. It's like I'm doing it too. I got to do 3, exactly. 1 or 3. 5 is a little too much. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So think about who else wants to say whether a program name that they want to kind of stickify. What is it? Vermont Family Matters. Okay. What first comes to your all's heads with that? Skiing. Did you say skiing? The state? Yeah. You're right. I think advocacy agency. I think lobbying agency. I think somebody that's doing something policy-wise. Is that what you're doing? No. Okay. So you doing anything with skiing? Yes, exactly.
Very nice once you do that.
Right, right,
Well, I think they did the Vermont because it's a state-owned program, so it probably could be understood.
right, right. Yeah, I like the idea, and obviously we're not going to be changing the names of our programs here, unless you can do that, which will be intimidated if you're at that level. But the idea is like, making some claim within the statement somehow.
Marriage savers.
Marriage savers. Hear it? Bing, perfect. Saving your marriage. It's a claim.
I'll tell you an interesting one.
Yes.
And it's a fabulous program. They started out calling it Before You Divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And you could take it out of the church
Right.
library. And
Before you divorce.
Red, white, blue, gold colors.
Right.
Big, huge videos. And people who wanted to, think about not divorcing before they were filing their papers would find themselves marching out in this enormous
Right.
box that would
Look. I'm getting divorced. Here's the big box I'm leaving with.
So they changed this, I think partly at our suggestion, to choosing wisely.
Exactly, yeah.
And then
Before you
they
divorce.
added little friends and turned it to green and brown.
Yeah.
Very sort of
... before you divorce. Something smaller. Yes. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm thinking about, okay, so what does Family Matters do? What do you do? Okay. Parenting, primarily?
No, their relationship.
The relationship. Okay. What would you all do with that instead of Vermont Family Matters? Becoming parents. It's good, it's sticky, it's short. Now, people are paid tons of money. Strong family. Vermont Strong Families Matter. Save the parents. Save the liver. Yeah, that's funny. Save the parents. Yeah. It's sticky. Yeah, exactly. Save the liver. It's very sticky. Yes, exactly. Now we're really dating ourselves. All right, good. Okay, you get this idea. The one sticky sentence is basically, trying to produce something, and it could be just a subtitle, something that's going to stick. And again, this is a great, if you like the idea, if this is kind of interesting to you, get the book. The Heath brothers are amazing. They have some great stuff on Fast Company. They have some great videos explaining some of their concepts. I love them. Switch is one of my favorite psychotherapy books. In fact, it's required reading for my class. It's a marketing book, but it's all about change. And it's great stuff. Okay, so this is the meat of this program, believe it or not. We're just getting there. The law of the few is the third issue, which is basically that if you want a program to tip, if you want a program to get interesting, to get a buzz out there are very few people that are involved in your program that are going to help you do it. They're already involved in your program. You just have to figure out who they are. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to figure out who they are. On your worksheet, which is the second blue banner page, you can start writing names down of the people that you know that will fit into these things. Excuse me. These people can be, when we're talking about them, they don't just have to be employees. In fact, they probably shouldn't be employees. They should be people that you already serve is the best. Or that they could be employees of another agency. But kind of think big. Don't just think about professionals. Think about the people that you serve when you're thinking about these people. All right, so there's three types of people. Salespeople, mavens, and connectors. I'm going to save the best for last. Salespeople. We're not talking about this kind of salespeople. Okay? We're talking about, what salespeople are like. Okay? I'm married to one. They're very good interpersonally. But they know that there's always, what's the ABC? Anybody a salesperson or ABC? Always be closing. Which means salespeople have it ingrained in their head. Some of them are born this way. That the relationship is not complete. The conversation is not complete unless I've closed, unless I've sold. Okay, these people might actually be salespeople. They might actually be doing this for a living, but you can just kind of tell that they're very skilled interpersonally, and they're much more interested in trying to get people to do something. So, the great people out there, there are some natural salespeople in our field. Many of the self-help gurus, they're selling, what are they selling? They're selling ideas. Many pastors are great salespeople. Joel Osteen, I don't know how you say his name. Okay, I haven't watched a whole thing of his yet, but he's a great salesperson. Okay, because the way that he tries to get people to think about, not just think, but actually change their behavior, change their way of thinking or doing or feeling. So that's what a salesperson does. A maven, any Yiddish experts here? So I'm going to ruin it here. Can you tell us what a maven is? Right. So it's often a woman. I'm just repeating what you said so I don't have to walk all that way. And they're very good at what they do, but they're very good at a certain specialty, and they love to share it. Okay. Sometimes it can be annoying how much they share it, but sometimes it's just, they just love to share. I find myself a bit of a maven. Like when I'm in a grocery store and somebody, or even like in a Target and somebody's buying something that I know isn't very good, I really have to restrain myself. They're looking at it, and I want to say, don't waste your money on that. I've already got it, didn't work out. I want to help them. I have knowledge that they don't have, and I have a desire to share it. Now, that's annoying at a Target. Pardon? Okay, if I see you, I'll tell you. So a maven is somebody that, and a maven in our field is somebody that's really into relationships. Okay, you can tell the mavens, well, we're all mavens in a way because of what we're doing. I don't know what year it was. I don't know whether it was NARME or Smart Marriages, but everybody was wearing a T-shirt that says, I love my marriage. Okay, those are marriage mavens. Okay, I got one. I just didn't have the bravery to wear it, I think. But so mavens are really, I'm going to tell you how to use these people after I've explained them. But mavens are really into what you're doing. The connector. Raise your hand if you don't know what this thing is. Nobody's going to raise their hand. He just threw them away. I have a 14-year-old son. I showed him this picture, and he's like, I don't know. Does it clean something? Do you spin it on something and it cleans it? He was trying hard to figure out what it is. It's a Rolodex, this is the way we used to keep track of, our address book. Okay, and so you were known by the size of your Rolodex. It's something physical. People would have like 3 Rolodexes on their desk, and they were like really well connected. We don't have a physical way of showing that anymore. It's not like, well, I have 3 iPhones worth of stuff. We can't show that anymore. A connector has a lot of connections. They're not friend collectors. They're not interested in the volume of friends. They're interested in making connections so that they can connect one person with another person. These 3 types of people are rare. Not everybody fits in. It's not like you can take like a third of you or one, a third of you another. There might only be a few people in here that fit any of these 3, because these people are extraordinary. It's the law of the few, meaning there's a few people that fit into this category. If I was to be audacious enough to say I would fit into one of these categories, it would be a connector. You're talking to a connector when you're talking to them and you're halfway through a sentence and they say, I know who you need to meet. Okay, and they're grabbing you because that person is in the room somewhere else. Okay, they love matchmaking because you got a cool idea and you have a cool idea and your ideas are really similar. Let's get you together. There's a great exercise in the book on this, got like a bunch of last names, and you circle how many people you personally know with that last name. And if you've reached a certain level, then you're definitely a connector. But the idea of the connectors is, if they're interested in what you're doing, they want to connect you with other people. They're very powerful when it comes to social movements. They're probably the most powerful of these 3. Okay, so what do you do with these? Start with the connectors. The first thing to keep in mind is ask for specific help. Meaning, if you know who your connector is, somebody well-respected, well-connected, we use that word, they're well-connected, which means they know a lot of people, and people respect this person. I was, when we were initially doing some work with the Scream Free Institute on developing a parent training model. We had the fortune of connecting with an individual that ran the United Way for quite a while, who was a stunning connector, and his ability to narrow down. You know what? I'm going to set up a lunch, and I'm going to invite 4 people. And we were negotiating. We were trying to get into the armed services area with our work. Oh, they all happened to be retired generals and admirals, and they were the perfect ones for what we were up to, because his Rolodex, which he did have a Rolodex, was huge. Okay, so a connector is somebody that's. But what we did was we had to ask a specific question: can you help us? Now the question for you is, can you help me? I'm running this new program, or I'm running this program. You know a lot of other couples in the area. You know a lot of other moms and dads. Can you help me get the word out? Can you ask 6 or 7 of your friends if they could come to this program? The missing piece, now do you hear how that's two-way? Do you hear how that's two-way communication now? Would you do me a favor? Okay, let's say I'm asking you. You know what? I'm doing a parent program. It's going to be a one-night seminar. It's going to be on calm parenting. I call it Parenting with Purpose. You know a lot of moms in the area. Would you mind asking like 6 of your friends to come? How would that feel? You start thinking of all the people that you would invite? Right. Because you'd be happy to help me, right? You'd kind of maybe feel a little complimented that I asked you. You know, I picked you. Okay. This is where it doesn't work to do this on an email, by the way, because if you make a mistake and they realize, okay, you're not just talking to me. I got one recently like that. Hey, Neil. Spelled my name wrong. I'd love to take you out to lunch and talk about a new program that I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then there was some other mistake about something about the information that wasn't who I was. And I'm like, okay, she's sending this to everybody. Okay, I felt complimented at first. It does work with emails, but it works much better personally, even just leaving a message. Hey, Julie, you know, you went through my program last time, and it seemed like you really enjoyed it, and I have a feeling that a lot of your friends might enjoy it too. Would you mind doing me a favor? No, what is it? Would you mind? I'm doing another one. Can I send you some material? Can you give it to whoever you're connected to? And they're going to start thinking. They're going to start thinking. Your happy customers are your biggest marketing piece. Okay, getting them to market for your next program is huge. And even if they're not connectors, but especially the connectors, getting them to market for you is huge. But asking them a specific thing, and then checking in. This is the part where connectors are very busy. And so you've got to remind them. You got to get back on the top of their list. Okay, I'm working on a workshop in Virginia, and I know the woman organizing it is hugely busy. And about once a week, I check in with her on, hey, how's it going? Did you get my material? And it's not that she's not responding because, well, I hope it's not because she said no. I think it's because she's just too overwhelmed. You know, what happens to your email box? Okay. Do you have less than 500 things in your inbox? Okay, I don't right now. And I know there's stuff at the bottom. I always start from the bottom and work my way up and see how depressed I can get for the stuff that I didn't do. But if somebody re-pings me and puts their stuff back at the top of my email box, hey, didn't hear back from you. You know, hey, just checking in how that's going. Oh, yeah. Let me work on it right now. So check in. Check in regularly. Okay, mavens, your best thing with a maven is to use their energy. One, to get them to ask a little bit. You can use them as connectors a little bit. The problem is, though, mavens can often be annoying. And so you've got to be careful that they're not, you know, out there saying great things about your program, but they don't have the credibility to make a difference. One of the ways to use mavens very successfully is in the implementation of your program. Can you do me a favor and help? Can you show up an hour early and unlock? Can you buy the cookies? All the stuff that you don't really like to do, that maybe if you don't have an intern for the summer, you know, that normally the intern does it. Getting somebody else to do it is really helpful, particularly one of your previous participants. We have a great program in Loudoun County, Virginia, where I live, and it's called Family Connections. And it's basically for families that are at risk of getting involved in the legal system or have already gotten involved in the legal system. It's a parenting group and a teenage group at the same time. It's run by the alumni. It's supervised by the staff, but it is run by the alumni. They market it, they get the word out, and then they run it. And a lot of them aren't great marketers, but they're great mavens. And a lot of them aren't great presenters, but they're great at making sure everything's set up. So utilize the mavens in more of the production part of the process. Giving them one-way tasks. Giving them a press release and saying, can you find out how to submit this to all the local papers? If you don't have somebody already doing that in your agency, get a maven to do that for you. Okay, get them, can you send this to the local patch? Patch? Okay, you know what Patch is? Patch.com. It's an AOL portal. It's a hyper-local AOL portal that basically every community within a city has a Patch reporter. They're normally volunteer people, but they run a site for your little area. So like Baltimore, the city of Baltimore might have 10 patches because it's like a little patch, your area. And they love getting local information. And so sending it to 10 patches is great because now they're going to put it out there. Now, that's great, but that only goes to the people who are looking at the patch? No. If somebody then searches on marriage education, step parenting, whatever you have put in your press release, Baltimore or wherever you are, then that little thing is going to pop much, much higher up because Patch is very searchable because it's AOL. And so your ability to get stuff out there and to get it in front of the eyes of people is much higher. So give them that task. Find out who the contact person is for all the patches. Yes? 30 minutes? Thank you. Okay. This is normally where I start talking faster. I promise I won't. Okay, so newsletters, things like that. Salespeople is to give them a closing goal. Give them something to close with. Can you get 10 people to come to my thing, to what we're doing? Can you get 3? 10 might be too much. So you're giving them a specific goal, not just contacting, but asking them to make it happen. They love it. If you're not a salesperson, you don't get it. Okay, trust me, they enjoy it. If you know that they're sales. And it's not manipulative because they want to help you. Okay, these are people that are interested in what you're doing. Now they're a part of it. Isn't that the cool thing? People love to be a part of something. We already are a part of something. If there's other people out there that love what we're doing, have them become a part of it. Can you bring 4 other parents with you? Can you invite 10 neighbors or friends? The really important part with salespeople is to give them that number. Give them a number. That really helps.
How's that different than the connectors there?
The difference with the connectors is the connectors don't need real specifics. Connectors will do it. You can give the connectors specific numbers, but you're connecting them. Can you contact these people and let them know about it? Whereas a salesperson, can you get 10 people to come? So with the salespeople, it's more about closing. That works better. It's just a little bit extra hook. You're kind of asking them to fill the seats. Whereas the connector, you're asking them to broadcast the information. Whenever a connector shares information about your program, the connector's credibility goes with them. Okay, so hey, so-and-so is doing this really cool program. I've already been through it. I loved it. I think you'd like it too. It's not just the information, it's the credibility. That's the huge piece of the two-way communication. Okay, so let me give you my experiment, which was just a one-shot deal, but it was dramatic, so I love talking about it. There's a high school in the Northern Virginia area called Potomac Falls, upper middle class, primarily college-educated parents, very involved parents. And this was a pyramid, which means that it was 6 schools, which was, they basically had, it was a high school, 2 middle schools, and however many I have left, elementary schools. So it was what's considered called a pyramid. We were going to do a program, okay? And so the first time we did it, the first time I did this program, it was canceled. It was canceled because only 5 people signed up out of hundreds of parents that were available. I was just learning about these ideas at the time, so I figured, you know what, I'm going to do an experiment. I'm going to experiment with this and see whether we can create some differences. Because they canceled it. They said, you know what, 5 people, we're not going to do it. So they canceled it. So I said, okay, let's make it 6 weeks from now, and let me meet with a group of what we call parent liaisons, which is there's one parent liaison per school that basically liaisons with the parents, especially parents that are struggling with staying connected with the school. So I started meeting with them, and we did this concept where I asked them each to identify at least 2 connectors, at least 2 salespeople. We did some of the other strategies I'm going to be talking about in a minute as far as email and information home, and we got the word out. We met every 3 weeks, so we met like twice. And, basically was, give me an update. Who's your connectors? Now there's a little competition amongst them, because now they had to show up with some names of, what they were doing amongst their other colleagues. So they were coming in, they were excited, they were talking about things they were doing. There were some churches in the neighborhood, they divvied them up to figure out who was going to call what pastor, who was going to call what family minister, to figure out, okay, we have a huge transportation issue in this school, so, which pastors can we utilize their buses for, to be able to go around and pick up a bunch of parents, like on the bus stops, which is what they use. They use the bus stops, as places to pick up parents. So they did all this work. The big one that they got the most interest in was dealing with the connectors. So then, we did it again, set it up, and the day of the thing was a very cloudy January day. And now I'm in Northern Virginia, and we're not that used to snowfall. So those people from other places that get a lot of snowfall, forgive me, but it was a blizzard warning. 20 inches of snow. We never get 20 inches of snow. And they had already, at 6 o'clock at night, 5 or 6 o'clock at night, they had already canceled school for the next day. But not that night. So evening programs were still on. I'm driving to the school and driving by the grocery stores, and the right lane getting into the grocery stores were blocked. People go nuts over 2 inches of snow. 20 inches, it was a disaster. So we show up. No idea. We're like, you know what, we're going to do this regardless, even if it means we're going to reschedule it, we're going to do it. So the first time we did it, like I said, we had about 5 sign-ups when we canceled. The second time we did it, we had 148 parents come to the program. Stunning. It was stunning. And we started asking them, why are they here? As they were coming in, I was asking, do you have enough toilet paper? Why aren't you out in that line out there? Why are you here? And so many of them said, well, you know what, Samantha called me, or Julie called me, and this sounded like a really cool program. And you know what, Julie said it was okay, blah, blah, blah. So they were able to identify connectors, and the word got out. The other thing that the connectors began to add which is, I hope to see you there. And so people were coming in through the door and saying, hey, I'm here. I made it like I said I would, which was huge for that sense of commitment. So dramatic shift. And I wish I could say I can do that with every school that I work with. I don't have the bandwidth for it. But when I share this information and the school counselors or the PTA, really it does the work for using some of these ideas, the numbers just increase dramatically. When the one-way stuff is the only thing done, the numbers are always lower. Okay, so let me give you some other ideas. This is just kind of a listing of some other ideas. Some of these are one-ways. iMessages about the program. What that means is that, let me talk about emails first. When you're sending out an email to 200 people, write it as if you're sending it to one person. Okay? Don't write an email like a press release. Don't say, hey, everybody. Okay? Hey, everybody, I just want to, dear parents. You're not writing to parents. Only one person is reading your email at a time. Write to one person. Now, you don't have to be cheesy. Hey, you, or hey, parent, But you could, hey, I wanted to let you know, I wanted to let you know about a program I'm running, and I think this might be interesting for you. Write emails as if you're writing it to one person. That makes a dramatic difference. They know you're writing it to 20 people or to 200 people, but write it as if you're writing it to one person. Another one these days that's very big is, we call them, we talked a bit about them a minute ago, robocalls, reminder calls. We call them robocalls in the school system, which is basically that they've got all your numbers, and they'll call with a recorded message from the principal saying, hey, this is Principal Johnson. Just wanted to let you know we're blah, 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 blah. And oftentimes it just runs right to your voicemail, which is the preferred way for me to get it. The iMessage that worked amazingly for another high school where I went and did a multiple parenting program was the principal said, this is the way he started, he's like, you know what, I have 2 teenage kids, and I have no idea what's going on inside their heads. Now, the cool thing is we're having this guy named Neil McNerney come to our school for a few times and talk about the teenage brain. And I tell you what, I can't wait to be there, and I'm definitely going to be there because I got to figure out what's going on inside their heads. I hope you can make it too. Click. We did a survey on why are you here? What was the key? What was this thing? 75% of them said Dr. Barnes's email or Dr. Barnes's voicemail. He invited me. He was going to be there. He's saying he has a problem with this too. One of the problems with education, parenting, and marriage education is the idea that we have it figured out, and it's our job to share it with you uneducated people. He turned that on its ear. So if you can have a leader, a pastor, it's tragic that the pastor won't support your program, because that is so huge for someone like that to be able to say, I don't know what I'm doing with this issue. I have no clue about this. I'm going to go. I can't wait to learn. That just increases it so much. So emails, voicemails, robocalls, make them personal. Speak to one person. Use an iMessage. 2 weeks before and the day before. The day before was really huge. What we found was, particularly with the Latino community of this school, the day before was huge because they just didn't want to make any commitments. They didn't know their schedule. They didn't know, and they don't. The families that we were working with were high stress families, and so it's a matter of they're not going to have a calendar. They're not having a calendar saying, okay, this is what we're doing. What then? It's like we're either working or we're at home trying to manage the day-to-day stuff. Getting a phone call the night before and saying, hey, hope you can come, and they're like, okay, I think we can make it. Giving a lot of warning is great, but making sure you do that last-minute stuff is really helpful. Not just for Latino communities, but for every community. I've showed up at parenting programs that I didn't know about till the night before because I knew I could make it. 3 weeks ago, I'm like, I can't make that. I'm too busy. I didn't even look at my calendar. The night before, yeah. If you're doing an ongoing program, robocalls, robotexts the day before. Hey, just wanted to let you know, today's Tuesday. That means tomorrow is Wednesday night. We've got this program. We're on session number 6. Hope you can make it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, God, that's right. I got to make that. Yes.
Well, then how did you prepare for 148 people when you thought 15 would come?
How do we prepare for 148? Well, I made like 200 copies of everything and just hope for the best. I always tend to do that. So, and my programs tend to be ongoing, so I can just use them at another school. So it wasn't much more prep for that because it was a one-shot. It was a one-night seminar. Right.
About a 60% show-up rate. When we do the confirmation calls, we have an 80 to 100%
Wow.
show rate. It makes a world of difference.
So a 60 to 80 to 100, 80 or 100% show rate with the calls beforehand. And you can use your mavens, your salespeople, and your connectors for this. Use those people that have already been through your program. Call them alumni. This is the coolest thing that this guy's done. Now, you're not going to want them to run the programs without some training, but the program I was talking about, the Family Connections program, that's what they do. They train them, and they run the programs with professional supervision. But that creates a huge difference. So those people that love the program, I love this. Let me know when you're doing something else. Okay. I know exactly how I'm going to use you. Okay. You're not using them. You're utilizing them. I like that word better. Because they want to help. Child care, some of these are the basics that we all already know. Child care almost always helps. It's so much work, though, setting it up. The community calendar section, the patch section. Facebook, again, if you have a Facebook process that is ongoing, that you've got some good connections with, fantastic, obviously put it there. Okay, website, giveaways. Oh, I forgot to do my giveaway. You all were here anyway, though, so I didn't have to do my giveaway. It's a free Diet Dr. Pepper that's been shook up. Because she doesn't want it anymore. Okay. So one of the giveaways that I do is my book, obviously, and so oftentimes what I'll do is for my speaking fee, I'll tell them that half the speaking fee can be offset through book sales, and you can give them away. And so what we do is the first, we at the top of the hour, whenever we start, like 7 p.m., I say, okay, we're going to give away however many books they purchased. But you have to be there at 7 o'clock in order to get the book. So it's a really cool part is everybody shows up on time. It doesn't matter how big the thing is. People love giveaways. So, thank you. So let me do, this is an easy kind of fun giveaway idea. So raise your hand if you have at least one kid that is, leave it up for now because you have one kid, that is in K through 12 school. Keep it up. Raise your hand if you have two kids that are in K through 12 school. How many do we have left? Two. You have two hands up. You're confusing me. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Raise your hand if you have 3 kids. Okay, cool. Well, I got 2. All right, so those with 3 kids definitely need my book. So you get a free copy of my book. Here you go. And I forget who the other one.
Tell the kids it's because of them.
Yeah, there you go. Can you pass that along, please?
How many did she have over there?
I don't know. So we keep going? What was you have 5? How many do you have? You have 3. Okay, she would have stopped at 3. Say with 5, I have a free trip to the Bahamas. Homework, A Parent's Guide to Helping Out Without Freaking Out. So it's about, thank you for asking, I didn't even pay him to do that. It's about finding that balance for parents of not doing too much but not doing too little. The concept is more about leadership than it is about helping. Parents we don't use that word leadership very often when we talk about helping our kids, but that's really, kids don't want our help. Do your kids want your help? Mine rarely do. It's the first sentence I think my daughter ever said was, I can do it myself. She needs my leadership, though. So that's basically the book. The book is basically how to, these are the 6 or 7 different ways that kids get themselves in trouble when it comes to schoolwork. And these are really the only 3 leadership styles that work. How do you pick which one of these 3 to go with those 6 or 7? So it's a bit of a matrix book in that way. But you can use lots of different giveaways. Go to the local stores, especially even the non-locally owned ones. Target, Walmart, they'll give you a gift card. Say, you know what, we're running this program. We'd love for you to display this and display one in your break room, and we'd love if you could contribute with a gift card. They got gift cards like this, stacks this big, to give away for things like this. Just ask. Get your maven to ask. Okay, even just the ones that they love to give are like the local ice cream shops. 1 free ice cream. They know, because why? They know that they're not going to sell 1 ice cream. It's not like the family's going to come in and say, we'd like 1 ice cream. Okay, they're going to sell 6 or 8 of them. So they're always willing to do those things. And give them away. If you can increment them, meaning like this week, the first week you give the little thing. It's just a cheesy idea for retention. The next time is going to be something more important. You have a chance to win. And you can't win more than 1 thing. So if you have a group of 8 people, okay, and you have 8 things, and it keeps getting more, well, I don't know if you want to do that, though, because then that might decrease the number of people coming. But if you increase its value each time, then, well, I'm going to come back because I have a chance to win that. So you probably shouldn't do it like if you've won one, you can't win again. You can win each time because you want them all to come back. Perfect attendance. A perfect attendance giveaway. Nice.
So we do some little, like, we do really cheesy giveaways that are
Right.
things like miniature candy bars or the Smarties.
Right.
And our boss always laughs at this because we give away our calendar that our organization has, boxes of extra.
Right.
Halfway through the year, we'll be giving out calendars.
You're giving out calendars that are right. It is so much more than, I mean, we're all just little kids. It's not just about the actual thing. But a perfect attendance one, if you can finagle a $20 or $30 or $40 or $50 gift card or something like that, yeah. Okay, you know what, I really don't feel like coming, but there's only 3 more classes, and I might have a chance at this. It might be enough to tip. So, yeah. Okay, so some of the ideas that we saw didn't really work. Okay, posters. This one school had these great posters that they made up, bigger than this. Picture of me, Neil McNerney, local author, come and learn, and all benefit related. And I was there at a meeting, at one of these meetings. This was actually the Potomac Falls meeting. And I watched people walk by, and nobody looked at it. Nobody looked at it. And they went to so much work for this thing. So I don't know how well posters can help. Again, it's one way. Okay, telling somebody they really need this program, not good. Not a good way to do it. Doesn't work. Road signs. God, the road sign people, they're making a ton of money because everybody has road signs. Can you read them? I mean, I'm like watching a road sign and I can get halfway through and I have to watch the road again. Particularly, so it's not that effective, I don't think. Unless you can figure out one way to put it in with just that much information in there. Strangely enough, for the Potomac Falls, the first time we did this, the principal of Potomac Falls was worried that the program was going to get too big. She's like, whoa, wait a minute. Why are we talking about doing all these things? Okay, because we don't want to invite parents from other high schools. Why would we tell a church? They have kids from other pyramids going to their church. So they come. It's not costing you anything. We already have to turn the lights on for the auditorium of 700 people. The auditorium can hold 700 people. Never worry that your program is going to get too big. Okay, it won't. It won't. Yes?
Where I see road signs effective is where there's this one here, and then 1/2 mile up the road, and another 1/2 mile.
Yeah, like a Burma shave signs.
Like
Yes.
Your spouse called. Want you to pick up
Yeah.
vegetables,
Right.
tomatoes.
Right, like the old Burma shave things, almost. Yes. Cool. Burma shave. I won't explain it. Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, jiggling the signs, flipping them up, yeah. Did you do that for the summer once? You look like you were, no? You look like you were like, yeah, maybe I did that. Yeah, that doesn't work very much, I don't think. Okay, these are just a listing of things to think about as far as places to connect. One of the really cool things that Malcolm talks about is that somebody was doing an educational thing on heart attacks and cardiovascular disease for African American women. And so they were trying to think through, where can we get this information out to? Where do you think the biggest, most influential place was? Beauty salons, beauty shops. So they trained the beauticians on high blood pressure and heart disease and how it's the #1 killer of women. And now when they were cutting hair, they're like, hey, by the way, and here's a brochure of a program that's happening because of it. Retention went hugely up. Knowledge, education went hugely up. Who are connectors? Good hairdressers are amazing connectors. I have a great barber. She's everybody in my little town gets their hair cut by her because she's just so pretty, and it's so nice to have a pretty girl cutting your hair for a half hour. And so everybody goes in and gets their hair cut by her, and she knows about my book, and she's got some of them on display there. And so you got to buy them at Amazon or wherever, but because she doesn't want to deal with the retail, but she talks about my book. And I know my sales have popped because of that, because she's such a huge connector. So, yes. All right, martial arts schools, child care centers, mandated professionals, barbers, medical offices. Spread the word about it, especially if your material is now sticky. These are great places to think about. Okay, again, asking them for specific help, asking a pastor, can we use your van? Can you drive your van around to your congregation to pick up some folks? It's a great idea. Can you attend? I had 3, at one of my programs, I had 3 of the Board of Supervisors come to one of my parenting programs. Why? Because I asked them to. And because kids from 3 of their 3 divisions were part of this high school that I was at. So again, they wanted to come. They put it on their Facebook page. They put it on their website. Hey, I'm going to be in such and such a place. Look how great of a community person I am. I'm showing up at this program. Fantastic. Okay, so would have never thought to do that initially. Can you announce it at your services? Can you invite 4 or 5 parents that would be willing to come or willing to help? Spread the word bigger by thinking about how you're going to say it. Am I out of time? Almost? Okay. All right. Ineffective asking is doing something like sending an email saying, I sent out an email and asked for people to help, and I even asked them to invite 2 or 3 other people to come, but it didn't work. This doesn't work unless it's a conversation to one person that says yes or no to you. Okay, it doesn't work as a mass email. Hey, could you tell, like that, if you told 2 people and they told 2 people and they told 2 people, it doesn't work that way. What it requires that one-on-one. Hey, John, can you do me a favor? Can you blah, blah, blah. You came to the program. You were a great addition to the program. Can you do me a favor and you talked about your poker group. I know it might be awkward, but can you tell them about this program and see if anyone will attend again? Because I'm doing this program again. Or whatever. Your prayer group. Your bunco group. Is bunco happening nationally? Okay. All right. Okay, so we kind of did that one as well. So you have an exercise sheet, which you can use to kind of develop ideas on this. Which means that you can go through and create the asks. Think about who the people are and think about creating the asks. One of the things that I offer when I do this, particularly this workshop, is if you want to run ideas by me, if you want to say, can you make this more sticky? Or can you, do you think that, is there a way that I could develop 3 questions out of this concept? Whatever you want, as far as if you want to send me emails, the easiest way to get a hold of me is, and it should be on my papers, just send me an email saying, what do you think of this? I am more than happy to give you ideas. I'm more than happy to say, okay, this is my thoughts. These are the questions I would come up with. I do this a lot. I think about these ideas a lot. So I've gotten pretty good at thinking through in this way, a sticky way. So feel free to contact me. Feel free to run ideas by me. If you are local, I am local as well. I'm just in the Washington, D.C. area, so would love to come to either your school or your agency. I do quite a bit of trainings with professionals. I also do quite a bit of seminars with parents. So if you think that my ideas or my thoughts might be helpful to your group, just let me know. I'd love to travel and talk, obviously, because I can't stop even when my time is up. So I'll hang around if you have any questions, but you also have my email, so don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.